So we are continuing our lesson from Tuesday. On Tuesday we did numerically or algebraically, our composition of functions. Today we are going to do graphically, so reading a graph, and tabularly, which just means using a table. Okay, so you can continue this if you have room from Tuesday. If not, start on a new sheet of paper. And then after this lesson, you should be able to complete all of 1 through 7, okay? So, this is a continuation, yeah. So here is our first example. Please don't copy this one down. On the next slide, you can copy that down. Right now, I just want you paying attention to me and helping me figure this out. In my earlier classes, it took until the second or third example for some of them to finally click in. So this or click and make sense. So this kind of takes more practice, but once you get it, it's the same for all of the steps, okay? So right here I have a table. Example 1 says I want g of f of negative 2. So what's the first thing that I need to do? Because this part is the same as what you were doing yesterday and Tuesday.
We have to find f
of
negative 2.
I need to find f of negative 2 first. So this is the part that I'm looking for, okay? So please pay attention to this. To read that on a table, I'm going to say, okay, when x is negative 2, it's right here. And this is my f function. So you know how to read like a multiplication table? You know, the kind that I gave you where you have to see where they meet up? Where do they meet up at? 2. So that means f of negative 2 is 2, okay? So now I'm going to give you the g portion of the table. So what's going to go into that box now? What's going to go into that little blue highlighted area?
2.
Positive 2, because we already found f of negative 2 is 2. So this is the same as saying f of negative 2. And I just told you, or we just found on the table, that it is 2. So to find my answer... Yes.
Are you always going to give us a table?
I will always give you a table for this kind of problem. So what is g of 2? How are we going to find that? I go to g, and where else do I go? To 2 on my x, and where do they meet up? At negative 8. So that's going to be this answer, okay? Is that okay? Okay, for the tables. Yes, this is how we do all of the tables. Tables are always the same, okay? On the next slide, I'm going to give you a full table, so I'll give you about a minute to copy it down. Then there are 8 examples. I'm going to do 4, and you're going to do 4, okay? So take a minute, copy this table down, please. You didn't have to copy down the first part. These are the real examples that we're doing, okay? Okay, we're going to start going over these. For number 1, I have f of g of 3. So can I have a volunteer, please? Tell me, what is the first thing I need to do? Yes. Find what? Okay. For g, which is, what is the x value? Good. So I'm going to find g of 3 first. Do you agree with him? Okay, good. So to find g of 3, I'm going to go over to my g, and then when x is 3, and find where do they meet. What is that value? So that means that g of 3 is 0. Okay. Can I get a different volunteer to tell me what's my next step?
You blocked it out and put 0 in
I have to find the f of what? F of 0. Is that what you were saying, Jacob?
Yes.
In different words?
In basic terms.
Okay. So now I have to find f of 0. So I'm going to look at 0 and f and find where they meet. And where do they meet at? 3. So what's my answer? 3. There you go. That's the answer to number 1. Okay. Do you have any questions yet? What did you do?
No, I put 3 in. I did it and
Okay. Okay, for number 2, can I get someone else I haven't heard from today? What is my first step? G of 1. Okay, so you're saying to find this, Janice? That part? Okay. And what is g of 1? Negative 1. Do we all agree with that? Okay. So g of 1 is negative 1. Can I get a volunteer to tell me what I do next? What do you mean? F of negative 1. Do we agree with them? Okay. So f of negative 1 is negative 2? F of negative 1 is negative 2? What? Oh, it's 1, right? Like this? Is that my answer? Okay, are these two okay so far? Do you say it's confusing? What part of it is? What do you mean? Okay, can you help me on the next one then? No, Ruben. What's the first step of number 3? Negative 2 from F. Okay, good. You guys can talk in a minute. I'm going to have you do the last 4 on here. So, you said find negative 2 when I'm looking at F. So, what is that? That is going to be 2. Okay. Then, Ruben, what do I do next? So I just took care of this part right here, right? What about the G? What do I do with the G, Ruben? Do you know? Okay, so do you see how I haven't used the G yet? Okay, so now I'm going to find G of whatever my new input is. So I'm going to plug in the 2 to my parentheses. And now I'm going to find G of 2. Okay, see how on number 1, I took care of the F second and I found F of 0. On number 2, I took care of the F second and I had F of negative 1. On number 3, I'm taking care of the G second, the outer one. So G of 2 is what? Negative 8, and that's going to be my answer for this one. So, does that make more sense? Okay. And then can I get one other volunteer that I haven't heard from today? Help me out with number 4. Christian. Okay, good. From where? From the beginning?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's look at this again. What do you think I need to do first, Christian? Okay, so there's an inner... Find the F of what? What's the number that I have, Christian? What's my input? On number 4. We're looking at number 4 now. Okay, because I'm going to start a new one with you. What's the input on number 4?
Negative 1.
Okay, good. And what is that inner function that is being put into? F of negative 1. Okay, so that's the first thing I need to find. Do you know how to find that on the table?
No.
No, you don't know how to? You say no? Okay, Janice, can you help him? But how? How do you know that? That's not helping. That's telling me an answer.
F of X up top.
Okay.
Down to negative 1. Right there is 1.
So they meet at 1. You see what I mean? Okay, so that's why 1 is this part of the answer. Okay, Christian, what do I do next? What's the last part?
You.
Do you know what I do next? Okay, so look how on number 1, I had to do the outer part. Do you see all the things that I circled?
Yeah.
Okay, what would that be for number 4? Where's the equivalent? The thing on the outside. What function is all the way on the outside?
G.
G. So now I'm going to take G of whatever my number is. Okay, and what is G of 1, Christian?
Negative 1.
Perfect. So that will be the answer to number 4. Is that better? Okay. Can you guys try the last 4, please? For number 5, the answer is 0. What is the answer for number 6? It is also 0. What about number 7? 19. And what about number 8? -2. Okay. Okay, on number 6. Okay. On number 6, is it because there's 2 G's? Okay. It's the same exact way. So first I find G of -2, which is what? Do you know what G of -2 is? G of -2, yes, that is 3. Okay. So then now I have to find G of 3. So now I find G of 3, which is 0. So I just applied it to the same function twice. So you can do the same one twice. You could do G twice. You could do F twice. You could do G then F or F and then G. Just follow the order of the functions. Okay? Is that okay?